In today's video, we're gonna see if we can follow a recipe and make some giant, oversized Skittles. Guys, we're back in the kitchen.
Awesome. And today it's not my experiment. This one's Nate's.
Yeah, so there is a YouTube channel called Bon Appetit. They make a lot of different things. My favorite sort of sub-channel on the channel is a chef named Claire, figures out how to make gourmet versions of several different candies and cookies and stuff. And one of my favorite ones was she made Skittles, which in my head just didn't seem like a thing that was possible to make at home.
Yeah.
But she knew enough to make something that she said was a very close approximation. And the ones she made were gourmet, like she used actual freeze-dried fruit.
The flavorings
and
were a lot
juices.
more genuine.
Yeah. Here's the basic idea. On the YouTube channel Bon Appetit, Chef Claire Saffitz showed how she came up with a way to make her own Skittles. We're going to try to follow her recipe and instructions, but make them giant and oversized rather than the regular ones she made. We're gonna try and make giant Skittles. Skittles like the size of a hamburger. We've got these Christmas ornaments and we're gonna modify these a little bit so we don't have spherical Skittles, or we might just pack them into here and then let it slump a little bit.
Yeah, well, we can form them a little bit.
But this should give you the gist of approximately the size we're hoping to go for. I think a little smaller than that maybe, but the point is they're gonna be large Skittles.
Very, very big Skittles.
So we've got a lot of ingredients.
We do.
A lot of types of sugar, a couple types of sugar, and we're gonna start following her recipe and seeing if we can successfully make giant Skittles. So I think we need some pots, we need the stove, and we need to bring up the video to follow along.
Perfect.
Our first batch of the candy is now cooled to the point where I can start pulling it. This is basically a taffy recipe, and you have to pull it and pull it and pull it and stretch it, and that mixes air into it. It turns it white, it changes the texture, and during that pulling process, we'll actually add a combination of sugar and citric acid into it, along with some flavor and a little bit of color to try and get that inside of a Skittles texture that we're going for. Now, the one bit of instruction that was not in the video that showed how to make these was when you're supposed to add in the mix of flavor and sugar and citric acid. And I did a test of this before just to see if I could even follow a recipe at all. I did not successfully make full-size Skittles that time. It was really just like, can I make the inside goo? And it more or less worked out. But the one thing I did learn is that if you let it go too long, it becomes very, very hard to mix. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm going to take this, flatten it out. I've only been stretching it for about a minute so far, but now this is our sugar citric acid mix with a tiny bit of Skittle taffy in it. I'm just gonna pour a bunch of that on there. We're gonna add in some food coloring, some strawberry flavor. This is honestly an experiment. I have not done this before like this. Oh, that food coloring lid I thought was more of a pink. I think I'm getting more of a purple. That's all right. The inside of our red Skittles might end up being a little on the purple side. I'm okay with that. It's not bad, but I think it needs more. I'm gonna add some more of the sugar and citric acid too, just for the texture. I don't know if this has actually been pulled enough to solidify as much as we really want for Skittles, but it's been pulled quite a bit, and I like how it looks in terms of being the inside of a Skittle. It's still definitely warm, so it may be slumping a bit more than we need it to, but I'm just gonna cut this in half, and we're gonna take each of these halves. We're gonna smush them down into our little Christmas ornament bowls here. Try and form those out nice and round and smooth. And then I think we're just gonna throw it in the refrigerator for a bit to cool off. And then we've got 4 more flavors to make. All right, that looks like the grape, but it's really supposed to be the strawberry. It's the inside of the Skittle, it's fine.
So the funny part about this stuff when you first start out is it doesn't start out in any sort of, it's not very cohesive at first. It's very, very stringy. It doesn't want to stay together. The only thing it wants to stick to is my gloves. I am not a fan at all of the flavor of lime, but the smell of lime is fantastic. You just put like 5 drops in there, the whole studio smells like lime now, and that's fantastic.
But that's why I did the lime instead of the lemon. I figured you can do the lemon that you like
Appreciate
more
it.
than lime. This is, in fact, much more coloring than we need for the interior. What do you think? Should, instead of this recipe, should we have just bought like 30 pounds of other Skittles and scooped out their insides?
I never want to do anything like that ever again, so I'll take this over that.
We'll end up doing something like that again.
We will end up doing something like that again. So this was our bloomed gelatin. It went solid, and now what we've got is the completely melted on the stove.
Now we mix it into our dry ingredients, which is a lot of powdered sugar, some cornstarch, and a pinch of cream of tartar. Now the really tricky part is stirring this without sending powdered sugar flying everywhere, because powdered sugar loves nothing more in this world than to go flying everywhere. So yeah, this is way too soft, so I think we're definitely just gonna...
Yeah, it's just melting away.
Honestly, it kind of reminds me of making proto putty.
Ha! Kind of, yeah.
Just sticks a lot, and then you just add more powder until it sticks less.
I'll start forming around purple, which is flattened out nicely. There's a piece of orange in it. I'm gonna take that out.
Well, I've made a Skittle tortellini here, I think. Just gonna have to trim off some excess. We've let our Skittles dry, and that's an important step for the pastiche. The covering that we're using is the shell. This is a little bit of extra. You can see that now it just breaks. Good crunchy shell.
What does it taste like though? Let's talk about that, because I took a bite of this morning thinking it was gonna be very sweet, and it just overwhelmingly cornstarch.
It is sweet, but it's not good. It's, yeah, a little bit of powdered sugar flavor and then some cornstarch flavor with a hint of gelatin, which is all that's in it, so that makes sense.
Yep.
But we've got varying levels of success here. Some of our Skittles were a little too soft on the inside.
We thought that the orange was going to really hold its shape, and the lemon one was slumping quite a bit.
So now we actually need to add colors onto these. We should have sprays matching the color of each Skittle. It's edible food spray, so let's start. However, before we do that, I also went ahead and cut out some S's out of tape, and we're gonna take those and use them as a mask so we can have the white S on the top of each Skittle.
Our kitchen scale here. We'll go ahead and try and weigh our red one. Almost 1.5 pounds.
1.37 pounds.
This one's a little bit heavier, I think. That is over 1.5 pounds of Skittle.
There we go. Let's add some color.
I like it.
Looks like our stencils worked middlingly. Some of our spray has dried off. It's been like an hour. We may have used a bit more than you're supposed to, and this may not be the surface you're supposed to use this color spray on. But we're just gonna try and add a little bit of edible shine to it to try and match the look of Skittles a little bit more and see how it goes. 650 times the size. Skittles.
650, is that what it was?
By mass, approximately, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, our Skittles aren't all exactly the same size, but pretty close conceptually. I'm pretty happy with what we've got here. Well, I think there's a couple more tests we need. For one, we need to see if they taste good. Two, I want to see if we can get them to break the same way. Like you take a normal Skittle and you squish it. If I'm strong enough, this one might be too strong a one. There we go. And like
stronger than you are?
That breaking pattern where it's like shattered out and sort of splits open. I'm curious if our giant 1.5 pound Skittles will break in a similar way. And then of course I just want to eat one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try the squishing with the orange one, partly because it's already like leaking out the sides. So it's gonna be sort of a CPR maneuver. I'm gonna try and just put all my weight onto it and see if I can get it to crunch.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's too strong, it's set up. Oh, little bit, not a lot. Oh boy, that's very tough. That was all of my weight. I'm just gonna see if I can cut it in half.
All right.
Can't crack it open, but.
Oh, you can definitely cut into it.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
There's a hamburger-sized patty of Skittle. I wonder if I'm able to bite into it. Somewhat.
Wow, I was kind of worried about your teeth there. And that citric acid really gets you.
Yeah. I actually think the texture is really, really close.
It really is.
It's got that same somewhat chewy, but with the grain in it. And that's the adding the sugar and the citric acid after the fact.
Wow.
We left some rubber marks on it.
It didn't really do much. I'm gonna hit it harder.
You got a crack.
Well, the top's squishy now. I've pulverized the top of it. Try and get that rubber spot off. There we go. Let's cut into that one.
How's our lemon Skittle?
I don't know. Now, I wanted this one to be extra sour, so...
True, you kept adding citric acid into this.
I did.
It's barely sour.
Oh, wait! That's exactly what a Skittle looks like. You got it right. Nice.
Ah!
I mean, it tastes like lime, so if you like lime, it's good.
Pretty powerful.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it is. Oh my gosh.
We have very different taste buds.
That's like artificial grape mixed with bubble gum as a flavor. Oh my gosh. So the artificial strawberry flavoring that we used, I think had some sort of carrier that normally burns off when you put it in something like candy. We added it to this cold, and so that bitter flavor is still there. So there's like strawberry, but then it's followed by like tree bark.
It tastes like a pine sap.
Yeah.
But mixed with the citric acid, so it's a sour pine sap that like coats the back of your mouth.
And it does have a strawberry flavor. It's just that the way that we added it was probably not the best. Our red one looked the best.
Flavor-wise, what one do you like the most?
Actually, I think orange. It's a decent flavor. It's made with, I think, real orange oil. It does have like a tiny bit more of a natural flavor than normal Skittles. I like it, but only in like really small quantities.
Yeah, I'm taking off like little tiny pieces, like Skittle-sized pieces.
This has been very fun. Thanks again to Claire Saffitz and the Bon Appetit channel for your instructional video on how to make Skittles. Guys, you can go check that out. That whole series is a lot of fun. That's all we got for today, but don't forget, we've always got more for you to see. Click that box up at the top to check out our most recent video, and we will see you in the next one. Talk to you then.